All right, what's good? What's good, man? Let's get into it. Let's talk about Caleb Williams. Now, I promised you guys that I was going to make an evaluation of all these quarterbacks coming out the draft as the draft is going to come, honestly, in a month, to be honest with you. It's about to be March, so in a month, we're going to be talking about these quarterbacks a lot. And, why not get a head start? And I'm going to be talking about Marvin Harrison Jr., but let's talk about Caleb Williams and why he's going to be the next superstar in the NFL, or has the next potential to be the next superstar in the NFL. Now, obviously, this is going to go on where he's drafted, who he's drafted to, what coach and stuff like that, obviously. But I'm looking at it from this perspective. He has all the makings to be the next superstar in the NFL. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The dude, I seen Caleb Williams, dude has everything. Dude, tangibly, he's better than some of the quarterbacks in the NFL. Tangibly, dude can move. He can run. He has an arm, rocket for an arm, talent. He can escape the pocket when the pocket's collapsing. Like, dude's amazing. Anybody who's watched Caleb Williams knows that for a fact. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, intangibly, I've seen Caleb Williams come up, I've seen Caleb Williams come up short a lot of times. As an Oklahoma fan, he came up short against, I believe it was Oklahoma State, his last game. His last regular season game, Lincoln Riley's last game with us. Now, granted, I do think that was a little sabotage-ish because Lincoln Riley left us literally the day later to go to USC. Is what it is there. But, usually when coaches leave or going to leave, they usually lose. You know what I'm saying? Prime example, Nick Saban against Michigan this year. Jimbo Fisher, his last game with Florida State. So usually coaches, when they're about to leave a team, they usually lose, which means, and they already know the players that are going to come with them. They let them know that they're going to lose. Now, granted, Caleb Williams played great. I don't really blame Caleb Williams for that loss. I blame the defense, but, Lincoln Riley, this ain't about Lincoln Riley. I'm not going to go on a rant about Lincoln Riley, but Caleb Williams, I've seen him come up short, but I also seen him come up big. Against Arizona, I think it was Arizona this year. I've seen him come up big in a lot of games. Even in that Washington game, he kept them. Washington's just a better team. I mean, Caleb Williams, I know he lost the Washington game, but at the same time, the dude was hanging. He was hanging with Washington. It's not his fault. His offensive line is beyond horrible. It's not his fault. Now, granted, I do think Caleb Williams, holds on to the ball too long. But when you know your offensive, when you're trying to make a play, obviously you're going to hold on to the ball too long. At least I know when he's holding on to the ball too long, he's going to make a play. Unlike other quarterbacks who we're going to be talking about in this series of the quarterbacks that we talk about in the draft. But I also want to bring this up too, because I know this is going to be a topic of discussion. Lincoln Riley, despite, the rant I was about to go in on him a couple minutes ago, Lincoln Riley is an offensive guru. I get that. I understand that. To the fullest extent, I understand Lincoln Riley is an offensive guru. Trust me, and I'm an Oklahoma fan. I watched, he was it 2016 he came in? Well, my freshman year, so around like 2015, 2016. I watched Lincoln Riley his whole tenure with Oklahoma. I know he's an offensive guru. Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams. He made Spencer Rattler work for a year. I know he's an offensive guru. And for people to sit here and say Caleb Williams is a system quarterback, you're an idiot. You're just an idiot. And I'm going to debunk this theory right now. Miller Moss will be trash next year. He will be trash next year. The guy has been in college football for 3 years. And just now, he's a redshirt freshman. He was a freshman, and now he's a sophomore now. He's going to be trash next year if he's starting. I'm not even sure that this guy will be starting next year. People sit here and say, oh, Caleb Williams' backup came in there, and, you look better than Caleb Williams. Well, guess what, you idiots? They were versing Louisville, the 15th ranked Louisville. Louisville sucks. Louisville lost to my Florida State Seminoles with our backups backup. With our backups backup. And then they got whooped by us. They got whooped by us with Jordan Travis. Miller Moss is beyond horrible. Look at this guy. He's not good. He's not good. But you want to know the difference between, I mean, I hate to say that. The simple fact that people can't look at the difference between Miller Moss and Caleb Williams. You know, I have to differentiate the two. But you know what Caleb Williams has that Miller Moss has? I mean, besides everything, he has talent. He actually makes a difference. You give Caleb Williams if you didn't have Cliff Kingsbury throughout his, I'm not Cliff Kingsbury. If you didn't have Lincoln Riley throughout his whole career, he would have been on another team being successful. If he would have stayed with my Oklahoma Sooners, you saw what Dylan Gabriel did? You don't think Caleb Williams could have won the Big 12 the last few years? Dylan Gabriel, who, by the way, Caleb Williams is way better than Dylan Gabriel. He would have been amazing. He would have been amazing. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now granted, our offensive coordinator is not the best, but we would have won more games. We would not got blown out by Texas a few years ago. Like, what are we talking about? Miller Moss is a bum, and I'm not even sure this guy's going to be starting next year. Are we sure he's not going to be starting? Are we sure Lake Rod's not going to find another generational talent or another great prospect to take over? Because Miller Moss beat a horrible Louisville team. Whoop-de-doo. You want a cookie? A 10-4 Louisville team. You want a cookie for that? People sitting here saying Caleb Williams is a system quarterback, don't know anything about college football, don't watch college football, and they're just beyond idiots. They're Caleb Williams haters, which, I mean, Caleb Williams does give you a lot of fodder to hate. I know he says a lot of stuff. I know he does very zesty stuff, but I'm talking about him on the field. You can't really hate on the guy. Does he have flaws? Yeah. So does every other quarterback. You're telling me he has more flaws than Drake May's bum self? J.J. McCarthy, who for some reason, and we're going to get to J.J. I'm about to go in on J.J. That's a video you don't want to miss. For some reason, people are hyping up J.J. McCarthy like he doesn't have flaws. Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels. Like, what are we talking about? And if Quinn Ewers and Dylan Gabriel were coming out, I would go on a rant on them too. Caleb Williams will be the next superstar in the NFL if drafted to the right spot. And I hate to say it, it's going to be most likely Washington. And, it's going to make me sick to my stomach that, unless we get Jaden Daniels, it's going to make me sick to my stomach. And the simple fact that the Giants are talking about, passing up on a quarterback and running back with Daniel and DeVito and all those bums, but that's another video for another day. The simple fact that he might go to Washington and we might be stuck without a quarterback, and that we're going to have to verse Dak, who sweeps us, Jalen Hurts, who somehow beats us and might have a comeback year, and then Caleb Williams with one of his favorite offensive coordinators, Cliff Kingsbury. It's going to be utterly, utterly sickening. It's going to be utterly sickening that we're going to have the fourth best, as a Giants fan, the fourth best quarterback in that division. Caleb has all the potentials of being, a superstar. And even if he somehow, some way, he falls to my Giants. We have Brian Daboll, who I'm not the biggest fan of Brian Daboll. I think he needs to be fired. But he's an offensive guru. I'll give him that. He made DeVito and Tyrod look good. And Caleb's better than both of them. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And even if he goes to the Bears, he has that offensive coordinator from the Seattle Seahawks how is he forgetting his names? And someone in the comment section, let me know the name of the Bears offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator, who made Geno Smith look good. And Caleb Williams has more talent in his pinky, his painted fingernail pinky, than Geno Smith has in his whole body, a la you saw last year when Geno Smith was a bum, which I called. But it's not about Geno Smith, but Caleb has all the potentials of being the next star if handled right. And I'm talking if handled right, because he could go to the Bears and suck, because that's what the Bears do. Or Washington, same as well too. I'm talking if handled right, and that's going to be the notion for all these quarterbacks that I'm going to be talking about, or the ones that I think that are good. If handled right, he's going to be the next star. He's going to be the next star, just like how Joe Burrow was. I can see the same thing with Caleb Williams. I can literally see the same thing with Caleb Williams. But that's my thoughts, man. What are yours? That's my evaluation as a Caleb Williams, and I'm going to be having a lot of more evaluations. Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, future Giant, hopefully, and one of my favorite quarterbacks, the secret gem. For anybody who's been following my channel, you know who I'm talking about. But that's my thoughts on Caleb Williams. What's your trajectory on Caleb Williams and my comp for him? I'm not gonna say Mahomes. I think Caleb's more like an Aaron Rodgers than a Mahomes, to be honest with you. So I think he can be a smaller version of Aaron Rodgers if handled right. And by the way, I also want to say this too. Caleb Williams should sit a year. If I'm Washington, whoever, he should sit. I don't care what the media, I don't care what Caleb Williams said. I will sit him for a year and have him learn the system. But that's my thoughts. What are yours? RJ out.